Hey everyone, it's Ken. It has been quite some time since I've made a video on YouTube, and the last video I made was very, very negative. And this video probably isn't going to be much different. Now warning, I have a red light up because I made this red light primarily for Halloween, and it's November 5th, and I'm too lazy to take out the bulb. I have the right bulbs right here, but I'm just simply too lazy. You have to deal with the redness of this video, so deal with it. This video is mainly going to be discussing my personal beliefs when it comes to Call of Duty. And I seem to hold a pretty big minority position on Call of Duty, and that is I've seen the writing on the walls for a number of years. Even when Modern Warfare 2018 came out, I saw what was happening and decided to take a very hands-off approach, not appreciate the games, because I knew eventually we're going to get here. And here we are. So let's first discuss my personal opinions about when Modern Warfare 2018 came out. I personally felt that its new engine and its new gameplay was great. It was honestly a new resurgence of a new way to play Call of Duty. It wasn't boot on the ground for the sake of being boot on the ground, but it also wasn't some bullshit advanced movement that was done half to death. It was a new version of the game. And also, we had the same characters, or at least some original characters. And these original characters that came into this new timeline, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, were better than the original versions. They were original. Their original versions were overall a bit worse, but their new versions are better. But the story surrounding them was not as good. I can't tell you what happened in Modern Warfare 2018 because it's all just a blur. And I tried watching a summary video on YouTube, and I only watched it 2 hours ago, and I can't tell you what happened. That should really tell you something. I felt in that game it was overall pretty meh. And the gameplay was the same way. I felt that the movement was fine, the maps were fine, the modes were Warzone was Overall, I felt the game was very And I didn't really spend much time or money on it. But then Modern Warfare 2 rolled around, and we got more great characters. Soap, Ghost, Price, they're all the best they've ever been. The new additions, Alejandro, he's great. But there are some problems, and that is Shepard is fucking abysmal. In Modern Warfare 2, he is the worst villain you could ever fucking see, especially when you compare him to the original version. And before you say that you cannot compare these games to the original because they're a new game. They have the same title. They have the same characters. They attempt to tell a very similar story. And yet you're going to use the excuse that they aren't the same games. Don't even try me, man. You and I both know we can complain about this shit. It's the same situation in Modern Warfare 2. The characters are great, most of them. And overall, they feel like great versions of themselves. But then the story surrounding them is subpar. There's not a lot going on. There's some great scenes, like that scene where you follow the helicopter and have to shoot while upside down. That's a great set piece. It's not as bullshit as, I think, Vanguard's train explosion scene. Or no, maybe that was World War II. No, that was World War II. I remember that in World War II a lot more. That was shit. It wasn't bullshit like that. It was decent. But overall, the story just felt like I could remember more from it. But a majority of the things I can remember is the mission where Soap needs to make his way to Ghost. If anyone tells you they remember anything more than that entire set piece, that place is great. That entire section of the game is great. The part where you have to find your way through this city, you have to sneak past guards, Soap is talking to Ghost, they're throwing banter left and right, and it's great. It's the best part of that game. But then the rest of the game is just kind of meh. But then they hit us with some bullshit retconning. And that's with Graves' death. One of the deaths that you can genuinely say felt pretty impactful and pretty rewarding. But then years later, not even years later, months later, they hit us with a fucking bullshit plot twist. I was never in the goddamn tank. That's the most brain dead explanation of why he's alive. You could even hit us with he's an imposter. That'd be way cooler. Like, what if he was an imposter? It'd be way cooler. But no, they don't hit us with that. They hit us with he wasn't in the tank. When I heard that theory, when I heard about Graves coming to multiplayer, and that was the theory so many proposed, I said, that's the most fucking brain-dead explanation I've ever heard. And if they actually go with that, I'm assuming that Modern Warfare 3, if there is going to be a Modern Warfare 3, at the time I wasn't sure, was going to be absolute shit writing-wise. And they did it. Yeah, that's stupid. The only rewarding death in the game is retconned. Now, they could retcon it, and then make him a really cool character in the sequel. Did they do that on Modern Warfare 3? No. In my opinion, these characters, Ghost, Soap, Price, are all the best they've ever been. Well, they're a bit better in Modern Warfare 2, but you get what I'm saying. But Modern Warfare 3's campaign fucking sucks. Its opening mission is great. It's literally the version, like, the opening mission is like that mission in Modern Warfare 2, where you have to go with Soap and Ghost, they throw banter. It's that same quality. It's the best part of the game, but the rest of the game simply doesn't measure. But it's even fucking worse in Modern Warfare 3. There is nothing satisfying. The main antagonist, Makarov, oh, he's nostalgic. So the fuck what? You wanna know what was so cool about Makarov? He was in Modern Warfare 2. He was important in Modern Warfare 2. He killed one of the characters in Modern Warfare 2 that you play as. He's influential to No Russian in Modern Warfare 2. And yet in Modern Warfare 3, he's only given one game to shine. And no matter how they would have written him, he just simply wouldn't work, and he didn't. Now, that's not to say that one-shot characters that only exist in their respective games in the series is bad. No, that's not the case. My favorite villain in the entire series only exists, story-wise, in his game. And that's Menendez. Raul Menendez only exists in his game. He only exists in Black Ops 2. And yet, he makes such a fucking statement by existing. He cripples one of the main characters. He, possibly, depending upon your choices, will kill by forcing you as a player one of your favorite characters in the game. So then, that slide down. Oh, he also, by the way, makes you make the choice to shoot somebody in the head that you have been playing with for the past few hours. Or, the character you're playing as dies. Well, that makes that slide down that rebel in order to stab that fucker and possibly shoot him in the head feel all the more rewarding. So boom, they've done it before. They've made it to where a character that exists in one game is great, but they can't do it again. Menendez was great. Makarov is not. The deaths of all the characters that die in this game are way worse. Soap. How does he die? Well, let's first start with the original series. How does he die? Well, he sits there, bleeding out on a table, as Price is screaming to him to hear something, and Soap delivers a line that causes Price to snap, and causes a pretty big problem between the main character, or at least the player character at the time, and Price. That causes one of the best scenes, which is, why does Makarov know you? As he punches you down the goddamn stairs. That's pretty important. But then, in Modern Warfare 3, the new version, 2023, what do they do? He stops Price from getting shot, and that's it. His death gets overall maybe a minute and a half of importance. That half a minute is when you see him lying on the ground, and the minute after is when they scatter his ashes. And the most egregious part of this entire horrible deaths is the one and only Shepard. I think Shepard, in the original timeline, has debatably one of the best deaths in all of Call of Duty history. The way he dies in Modern Warfare 3 2023 pales in comparison to his original version. So let me tell you how he dies in the original game. He stabs the player character in the fucking chest. He is pummeling Price into the fucking sand. Or was it soap? I can't remember. I'm going off of memory. But he's pummeling one of the characters into the fucking sand. What do you have to do as the main character? You have to do a QTE to pull a fucking knife out of your chest, flip it around, and get his attention so you can throw the fucking throwing knife into his skull, killing him. How does he die? In Modern Warfare 2023. We get a CG cutscene of Price shooting him in the head with a silenced pistol. Which, by the way, makes no sense, because the noise it makes would not be an actual pistol, but, you know, we don't go here for realism. We don't even see the bullet connect. We see Soap's bullet connect, but we do not see Shepard's. We simply hear the noise, and we see him on his desk just like... Or he's more hunched over, but you know what I mean. We don't even see his death. And overall, the story just... What is there to be proud of? Half of the missions are just Warzone assets. They're asset flips. And yet, we're going to say that story does not matter in Call of Duty games. I think it does. And let me give you an explanation of why it matters. A lot of people will buy a Call of Duty game and see that it has a story and play that first. That's why they oftentimes nowadays release the game a bit early, but only campaign. But what happens when that campaign is mediocre, if not shit? You go into the rest of the game with a really skewed perspective. You hated the campaign, so you're naturally going to have a bit of a disheartening, as you could say, towards the rest of the game. No matter if the game was great, you're still going to hate it. Or at least, not like it as much as you would. You might say that this game is meant for the fans. That they're showing you all these things. That is meant to spark your bit of nostalgia. I'm here to break something to you. No matter how hard Activision tries, no matter how much they attempt to recreate that same magic, it simply won't work. And you want to know why? You are the problem. But that's not an issue. Let me explain why. If you're anything like me, you started playing Call of Duty games on your Xbox 360. You maybe joined at Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, maybe even older. And you miss, when you were a kid, being able to boot up whatever Call of Duty game yours was. Mine was Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2. You miss being able to boot that up after school, being able to load into a match with the boys, being able to play with them for fucking hours, being able to play from whenever you go home from school, maybe 5 o'clock, until 5 in the morning, having to go to sleep for maybe a half an hour and get up and go to school, and then do it all again. You miss that feeling. But now you're all grown up. You have responsibilities. Some of us have wives, husbands, or whatever they want to be. They may have children, maybe adoptive or biological. They have responsibilities. I have an apartment I have to pay for. I have a heating bill I have to pay for. I have a water bill I have to pay for. And I have a son I need to take care of. And his name is Charles, and he's a very good boy, alright? He is my son. So, I don't have the hours and hours to spend on these games. I need to find games I can play in my pastime that doesn't revolve me spending tens of hours to play the same game just to wish I could feel the same way I used to. And that's just it. I finally realized that I simply cannot play games the same way. And neither can you. You cannot play Call of Duty games the same way because we have too many responsibilities. We have too many things going on in our lives. We grew up. And it's time your expectations did too. Don't expect these games to make them feel the same or make you feel the same way you used to. Don't expect these games to be the same quality that you used to. And don't expect these games to be worthwhile for $70 fucking dollars. That is just one man's opinion. You may disagree with me, and I'm always a huge person when it comes to freedom of speech and being able to express your own opinion. And please do so in the comments. Have a general discussion, because I believe the best way to find the best possible opinion when it comes to a subject is by intersecting different opinions. You may say this new game is fucking phenomenal, and I might say I hate it. But then in between that two statements, those two statements there's a lot more in common than you might think. So slowly but surely, as we discuss more and more, we'll realize just how similar our opinions are. And eventually we'll both be able to say something at the very end that we both agree with. But like I said, that's woman's opinion. You might call me a piece of shit, you might call me some sort of slur in the comment section, and I welcome it. But without further ado, I do hope you all enjoyed this video. And will there be any more in the future? Who knows? But either way, I'll see you all possibly in the next one. Bye.